The doors of your car will close automatically. Please keep your head and arms inside and remain seated at all times. And please, no smoking. Thank you.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Hey there, Mountaineers. Welcome to episode 37 of Matterhorn Mondays. I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm Alex the Historian.
And Alex, for the new viewers who don't know who you are, why don't you take a couple minutes just to tell us what kind of videos you make on your channel?
Sure. Well, my channel is all history videos based on Disneyland history. And nothing else. And so basically, I have a very popular show, which is more like a lecture series, and it talks about the history of each ride at Disneyland from what it was all the way till what it is today. And I have another show, which is like a little fun fact show. It happens on Fridays, and it's called Fun Fact Friday, and basically it just features one item of interest, basically, for the park. And then I also do a vlog series where I go into the park and I point out items or places of historical interest. So my channel is all history and fun.
Yeah, guys, definitely go out, give Alex a subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and yeah, that's gonna wrap up that intro bit. Gosh, I mentioned to Alex earlier, my second monitor is not working, so if you see me like randomly tabbing into OBS or into Discord, that's why, just because I don't have my second monitor to put all that stuff onto, so I apologize in advance for that. I'll get everything fixed, hopefully within the next couple months. That's a long time, but anyways, let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna have a couple topics today. First, we're gonna be talking about Pirates of the Caribbean coming back possibly with Fastpass, but before that, Alex wanted to sort of talk about little what would you call this, Alex? A little update in the parks?
Yeah, just a little interesting change.
Interesting change. That's a good name. Okay. Anyways, Alex, why don't you go ahead and take it from here?
Sure. Well, basically what I wanted to talk about was these hedges on It's a Small World. If you can see from the image, there's these hedges with little domed tops on them, and they've been part of It's a Small World now since opening day of Small World at Disneyland. They've been planted there since opening day, and they've just lasted this long, but recently they have been removed. I'd say maybe about a week ago, Disneyland took them out. And to be honest, I'm not sure why they did it. The plants were still healthy and were not, it's not like they were dying and horticulture needed to replace them. They were doing fine. But I have a feeling that it has to do something with Cal OSHA, which states that a lot of emergency walkways and things like that have railing and stuff like that for guests. So there's, as people know, right on the back side of those hedges, the Disneyland Railroad crosses over It's a Small World. And recently when they added these bridges to the new Rivers of America section, they have these bridges that have railing on both sides of the train. Mm-hmm. So it allows, so that way if people need to exit the train and walk to the nearest exit, they have railings to prevent them from falling over the edge into the Rivers of America.
Oh my goodness.
So I have a feeling that these hedges by It's a Small World, they were really large and in the way, and if the train happens to stop over It's a Small World and can't continue, people really can't just exit the train because there's no room to walk. So I have a feeling Disney removed them because they plan on putting some kind of railing and a nice little 3-foot walkway space, so that way if people need to exit the train there, and go back to Toontown Station, they could. So that's what I think they've removed them for, and I'm still not sure yet, because right now the area where the hedges were removed, they've put tarps and stuff over that. So we'll see how that goes, but that's just an interesting little change I wanted to point out, and the fact that those hedges have been there forever, and it's just interesting that they've finally been removed, and we don't yet know why. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it's interesting looking between the two pictures of the older one and then the newer one, seeing how much the ride has changed, how much the trees have grown in the background. But yeah, anyways, I forgot to say this in the beginning. I did initially plan on having a little segment in the podcast, having sort of like recapping like what's going on in the parks for the week, like closures or like parades or something like that. But I figured there's not a lot of stuff that necessarily happens on a weekly basis, so I figured we change it to once a month park updates. Unless it's like a busy month, busy couple weeks, we'll do weekly stuff. But yeah, that's basically what this sort of little bit is gonna be a part of. So yeah, thank you, Alex, for pointing that interesting little tidbit out. I'm still in awe as to how much the trees have grown in the background of the pictures. But
well, when I was a guest relations cast member, one of the tours I did was the park's horticulture tour, where I talked about plants and things like that around Disneyland, and how a lot of them have a story. And it's just interesting that these hedges, they do kind of have a story. They've been there since the beginning of It's a Small World, and so it's just kind of like interesting that they've lasted all these years. Like, if you really think about it, it's been like over 50 years, probably around 52, and yet it's just a little piece of Disneyland history that's gone.
yeah, that is very interesting. Gosh, my dad just walked in. Holy cow, it scared me. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the second sort of topic we're talking about. This is from WDW News Today. They are reporting, this is a rumor, that Pirates of the Caribbean, when it reopens on June 18th of 2018, they are reporting that Fastpass and MaxPass will be available for the attraction. And I wanted to get into sort of a discussion about whether Pirates of the Caribbean needs a Fastpass. We've sort of touched on this in the past with the Matterhorn and with other attractions we'd like to see Fastpass come to. Me personally, Pirates was not one of the attractions I'd like Fastpass to go to, just because the standby line goes by so quickly. Sometimes the posting will say 40 minutes, but it doesn't really feel like 40 minutes because the line is constantly moving because of how high of a capacity the ride has. But yeah, Alex, what are your thoughts on the rumor of Pirates of the Caribbean getting Fastpass and MaxPass when it reopens?
Well, basically, I feel a little disappointed that it would do that. Now, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, awesome, Fastpass! Like, I can just get a Fastpass for the ride, and and I don't have to wait in line." Well, of course, everybody's excited about that, but the problem is that every time you add a Fastpass to an attraction, the regular standby line gets longer, and it's because they have to stop the line to board passengers that have Fastpass. So it's a little disappointing, because that's what's going to happen from if they do open it with Fastpass, that's what will happen. And I know a lot of people would actually kind of say, well, Alex, it doesn't really slow down the line, but in a way it kind of does, because like, some people argue that it, depending on how long the line is already, and then the fact that Fastpass is really like making a reservation for an attraction. That's true. Fastpass is like making a reservation for an attraction, but the problem is that the ride the regular line has to be stopped in order to allow those people on board.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes the line stretch even longer. And lately I've been going to Disneyland, and when Pirates is open, it's got this line that stretches all the way out of the regular queue, goes over the bridge, and sometimes even goes through New Orleans Square. And now you're probably going to see, a line that's probably 10 to 20% longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
And and you're looking at lines that are going to stretch through New Orleans Square almost daily.
Yeah.
And so it's just disappointing to me. But I mean, at the same time, people who get to have a fast pass for it don't have to wait in the line. So it's really, it's hard to be totally angry at it, but it's at the same time it's depressing that it's gotten to this point. And the thing is that Disney also will earn money off of it if you're doing this through Max Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So Disney is making money off the fact that there are people waiting in a really long line for this attraction. And it doesn't bother Disney at all, because they're like, hey, anyone who gets Max Pass because they want to ride Pirates of the Caribbean and a whole bunch of other stuff, we get their bucks, and everyone else gets to suffer,
Mm-hmm.
So that's my opinion on it, because that's what's happened at Haunted Mansion. The line is now like almost always long. Like I've been going to Disneyland lately, and they already have an extended queue set up next to the fences of the mansion and stuff like that, and kind of going into Magnolia Park just a little bit. And they have that now daily, because that's how long the line gets.
Dang.
Because of these fast passes. So that line I can say has easily gotten 20% longer because of fast pass every day. So yeah, I kind of profit off of it too anyway, because because I have a guest assistance card, so I get to wait in the fast pass line. So I am kind of defeating my own purpose, my own good, but nevertheless, I feel for those people that are waiting in that long line.
Yeah, I remember when we went to the parks last year, and we were just in awe of how long the line for the Haunted Mansion was. It was stretching out, like you said, outside of the fence perimeter, I guess you could call it, of the mansion, and it was like looping around at least like 10 or 15 times. So many meters of chain link to separate the lines. But yeah, like I mentioned, I don't think Pirates of the Caribbean needs a fast pass, because like I said, the line moves really fast. And also another really bad part about adding fast pass to Pirates of the Caribbean of all attractions is, where are they going to put the fast pass line? Because normally, I believe normally the line splits into two sides, and you can go up either of the little courtyards, and then I believe they eventually meet back up, and then you enter the building. I could be remembering it wrong, but if they decide to just have a right side or a left side dedicated to standby, and the opposite side dedicated to fast pass, that is going to make the standby line extremely long. You won't even be able to fit half the people waiting in standby line in that courtyard. It's going to have to stretch out onto the walkway that goes above the line, and it's just really strange, because I also read in the WDW website, gosh, I just forgot the name, but I also read that the rumor is that they are planning to distribute the Pirates of the Caribbean Fast Pass at the Haunted Mansion Fast Pass distribution. So that's kind of strange. You'd have to walk all the way across New Orleans Square to get a Fast Pass for Pirates. But the big main no for me is, how are they going to split up these two lines? Because, like I said, the line that is eventually going to be standby is going to be way long, and it's going to stretch. It might, on a busy day, it might even stretch into Adventureland. Maybe, I'm not sure.
I have a small theory about that, actually.
Ooh.
Um, I, I, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive I'm right. Okay, so I have the theory that okay, so I thought about that too. Like, are they just gonna dedicate one line? Because as we know, it splits off so that way you either board the front boat or the back boat, but
Hmm.
you can't just alternate between the two. The line splits up. So I thought, well, what if they do that? Then yeah, I thought the same thing as Matterhorn Matt. The line would be really long, and then what if there's no one waiting in line for Fastpass? Then there'd be empty boats going through.
Hmm.
Um, but I actually have this theory, and it goes like this. So, how does Fastpass work for other attractions that it was added to? Like if you look at Haunted Mansion's Fastpass, um, you would normally think like, oh, okay, Fastpass would take you directly to the front door and you get to enter in, but actually it takes you around back to the back side of the mansion, and it combines you as a Fastpass person. It combines you into uh, the regular line, so that way you kind of intermingle with people who've already been waiting for a while. And so I kind of figured that could work. So at Pirates of the Caribbean, instead of dedicating one whole line, they instead just insert the Fast Pass people into a shorter segment of the line. And here's where I think that will be.
Oh.
Over by the Veranda Restaurant, which is to the right of the Pirates of the Caribbean entrance doors.
Hmm.
There's just that little restaurant there. There's actually a walkway that you can walk directly up to the front doors of the Pirates of the Caribbean without actually having to go through the underground queue that they have there in front of the building. So I believe what will happen is if you walk up to the main entrance of Pirates of the Caribbean underneath the bridge, then they'll direct you to the right to go around the queue to the right, and then you can go directly up to the entrance doors of the attraction building. And I believe they'll have a cast member standing there who can scan your tickets and then stop the regular line, stop either one of the two of the lines and insert Fast Pass people.
Hmm.
And I think that's where they'll do it. Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that walkway you're talking about, but the way you describe it, it makes perfect sense. Now that you mention this, I do have a good feeling that Disney is gonna do what you're saying. I give the Matterhorn Matt stamp of approval to your theory, but if they if for some reason they don't decide to do that, it's just because, like I said before, there's no real way, to my knowledge, to expand the sort of courtyard queue. I don't think you could go. You can't dig down, of course. You can't go up, and I'm trying to work out ways in my head of how they can do this. I was thinking originally maybe they could route the queue up into the dream suite above, but that would be terrible. That'd be a terrible idea. But yeah, I'm all for Alex's theory. Let's see, what else was I gonna say?
I have something else to say.
Ooh, yes, please do.
Okay. So I wanted to make a comment because hopefully if anybody from Disney is listening, they might do something about it. So if you are a guest who if you're like me, you have a guest assistance card and you can't wait in the regular line, then they usually direct you to the exit of Pirates of the Caribbean, to wait in a line at the exit of the boats.
Mm.
And this includes people who are utilizing wheelchairs and they need to transfer and stuff like that. They send all those people through the exit, and they have to wait along the boat dock for the cast members to load them. The problem is that the process for loading people takes so long that sometimes people in wheelchairs and other guests like me who have a guest assistance card, they're often waiting like 40 to 45 minutes just to get on Pirates of the Caribbean. And it doesn't really alleviate the problem of waiting in line. So like my friend Eric, he can't wait in a line. That's the whole point of his guest assistance card. And yet if he tries to go on Pirates of the Caribbean, he still has to wait in a line behind all these people in wheelchairs and stuff like that to wait his turn to board the attraction. So he's still waiting in a line nevertheless. And it kind of defeats its purpose. And so the reason why it takes so long to board people onto Pirates of the Caribbean if they're transferring from a wheelchair or have a guest assistance card is because the cast member at the exit, where on the exit side of the dock, has to alert the cast member that is counting people onto the boats and counting them out and then distributing them onto the boat, has to contact that person and tell them not to put anyone in, like, let's say rows 5 or 6, because depending on how big the party is that has to board the attraction from the exit side, they may need a few rows. So and the problem is like, you have to, like, the cast member has to literally like shout over the boarding of the boats to tell the cast member on the other side who's counting people on, like, to save space. And so I'm just like, well, instead of yelling at them, how about Disney just like use like what do they call it? Like walkie-talkies and stuff. Like Disney has walkie-talkies all over the resort and stuff like that, and they could easily use that to tell the cast member over there, make it faster. Or let's just say it happens to be a busy day and you know that the line for the disability line is getting really long, then they might as well just reserve every sixth row of the boat to be empty anyway. So that way, like, they just don't board people on the 6th row. That way they can just start boarding people immediately who are waiting in that disability line. So they need to do something about that. Maybe one of those two ideas or something, because it takes way too long to get on Pirates of the Caribbean if you can't wait in a line, and you still have to wait in this line. So anyway, that's all I just wanted to say.
Disney, if you're listening, you better do what Alex said, or I am not going to go to the parks anymore. Let's see. I did want to sort of move on to sort of a similar topic. I wanted to... Gosh, how am I going to put this? What would be your number one ride if you had the ability to add Fastpass to any ride in Disneyland? What ride would you add it to?
Ooh. Oh, are you asking me right now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you were going to continue talking or something. Okay. Actually, okay. So I know I just mentioned how Fastpass is kind of like a double-edged sword, because you add it to any ride and it'll automatically make the standby line longer. But if there is any ride in Disneyland that deserves a Fastpass more than any other ride in the park, it's gonna be Peter Pan's Flight.
I was gonna say that one.
Yeah, everyone has to say. I bet if you asked anyone right now, they would agree. Peter Pan's Flight is the one ride in the entire park that needs it the most. Because that line is just ridiculous. I walked by it the other day. It was a 40-minute wait.
Gosh, 40 minutes. That doesn't sound like that long, but standing out in the sun most of the time in the line it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, because like you said, most of the line is in the sun. And sometimes that little area of Fantasyland gets really hot because of the density of the building. So it's just like gets really hot in there, and they need a fast pass for that. You know, when I go on with my guest assistance card, I get what's called a return time. So basically, I just go up to any guest relations thing and I go like, okay, I want to ride Peter Pan's Flight. And they tell me, okay, return after this and this time. So when it's my time to go back, I go to, they have a alternate line for well, not a line, it's an entrance into the queue for people who have a guest assistance card and they need a return time. So they are able to insert me right at the last turn of the queue before you board the actual ride. There's one last turn and it takes you through a turnstile, and that's where they insert me. So maximum I wait like 5 to 7 minutes to actually wait on the line. And so if they wanted to turn that guest assistance entry into Fastpass, they could, because that's all they have to do is stop the regular line right at that same spot that I usually go through, and then just insert the Fastpass guests into that spot. And so that's what they should do. But the other thing besides Fastpass is that ride needs to be updated to become like an OmniMover ride system. It needs to be like in constant motion, like the one, I think it's the one in Disney World, I think, is constantly moving. Just like getting on Haunted Mansion, but except instead of it being the Doom buggies, it's still the pirate ship and it hangs from the ceiling, but it's in constant motion. And you have to, and that way it speeds things up. That's what it needs. It is Pirates of the Caribbean needs to become an OmniMover ride system.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to imagine. I wonder how long that, or how much money, and how long it would take to do that. I wonder if they'd have to change to like destroy. I'm trying to think. They might have to destroy almost the entire, I guess, like roof where the boat hangs from, maybe, to put in the different technology. I'm wondering how long that would take, and if it's even worth it trying to do that. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but yeah, Peter Pan's Flight would have been my pick as well, because that line, as Alex said, is the worst line to wait in for almost any of the other Disney attractions. I'm trying to think if there's a worse line to wait in, but I think when Peter Pan's Flight gets above 35 minutes, even 30 minutes too, it is just a nightmare to wait in the sun with no shade until like the last 5 minutes. No shade. Sometimes it's 100 degrees outside. Yeah, it's just the worst. But anyways, moving on from our Fastpass, Pirates of the Caribbean Fastpass topic, we're going to get into our main topic. Alex and I are going to tell our different ways as to how we would fix California Adventure. Now, we're going to go land by land, starting with Buena Vista Street. So, yeah, we're basically going to say what we change in each land to make it better overall. We might even propose to demolish an entire land if that's what it takes to make it better. But we're going to start with Buena Vista Street, and I guess I'll start off first. I don't think I would change anything in Buena Vista Street, really. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'd change. No. I think Buena Vista Street is almost perfect, I'd say. It's really, gosh, just looking through these pictures, Buena Vista Street, oh, not this picture, but Buena Vista Street is really beautiful, especially at night and during Halloween time. Oh my gosh, when they decorated Buena Vista Street for Halloween this past year, it looked amazing. I wasn't there, but I saw on YouTube. I thought it looked amazing. But yeah, Buena Vista Street for me is really, Disney really did a great job. Oh, and I also left out Cars Land from this just because I think Alex and I would agree that we wouldn't really change anything from Cars Land. But Alex, would you change anything from Buena Vista Street to make it any better?
Honestly, no, because I think Buena Vista Street is probably the best land that they've created besides Cars Land there at California Adventure. I mean, it is such a classy entranceway. I'm so glad they created it, because honestly, it as an entry land into a Disney theme park, it's probably the nicest entry. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's you think I mean really think about it. Like any American Disney theme park, like they usually have like really cruddy entrances except for Buena Vista Street. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like anyway, so it serves as a perfect sister entryway to Disneyland. It's nice and it's like almost like I don't know, like in some way it's like related to Main Street in the sense
Mm-hmm.
that it's the Main Street of Walt's reality.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, I wouldn't change Buena Vista Street. If anything, I'd make it a little bit bigger,
Mm.
like out towards Hollywoodland. But that's part of our Hollywoodland topic.
Now, I should have pointed out at the beginning, California Adventure is not laid out. Not laid out the same way that Disneyland is. Disneyland is laid out in the sort of spokes and wheel with one central hub that leads out into all the other lands. California Adventure is not like that, unfortunately. You'd have to get to some attractions. You'd have to walk through sometimes 2 different lands to get to an attraction on the other side of the park. I just figured I'd bring that up for the people listening. But moving on to Hollywoodland, my favorite land. Not oh my gosh, Hollywoodland. There's really no easy fix for Hollywoodland for me. I was never really attached to the backlot theme at all. Not even when Universal did it. I mean, granted, Universal does it better, I believe, than Disney does it. But it's just, Hollywoodland is like a short, sad sister that got kicked out of the family and now lives on the street of Hollywood Studios. It's just really sad to look at, and I was trying to go through ways of how I would change this land in my head without getting rid of the Hyperion Theater, because I want to keep the Hyperion. I think, well, Aladdin isn't playing there anymore, so I guess might as well just get rid of the Hyperion. But in this scenario, in this scenario, we're gonna keep the Hyperion, and in my mind, I'm gonna imagine that Aladdin is still playing there, not Frozen. So I was trying to imagine ways of how they would keep the Hyperion Theater, and the only way I can see them doing that is to extend Buena Vista Street. This might not work, but if they made this long strip of Hollywoodland, just made that an extension of Buena Vista Street, then maybe somehow they'd be able to incorporate the Hyperion into the theme of the retro Los Angeles feel that it has, and they might even be able to keep the Art of Animation building as well. Because I like going into the Art of Animation. It's air conditioned. They have really comfortable couches to take a nap on. I've never done any of the actual drawing there, but yeah, I guess those would be the 2 attractions I'd keep in Hollywoodland. The rest, at least for this long strip right here, that leads onto the fake painting that is kind of weird. All that would be demolished and rebuilt as an extension of Buena Vista Street. And moving on to the Monsters Inc. area, I was also trying to think of ways they could incorporate that into the Buena Vista Street theme, and I could not think of a way that they could do that, so I'm just going to opt to close all of it. They used to have like a Mad Tea Party, like rave sort of thing happening in that area, which was very strange to me, because almost whenever I passed by, there was nobody that was in line, or there's nobody that was like dancing to the music. It was very strange. So yeah, I just opt to close this whole area. Monsters Inc. is not a good attraction in my eyes. It's really just a reskin of a slightly worse attraction, and let's see. They could move the movie preview center to a different part of the park. I'd like for them to keep the preview center in California Adventure if it means getting rid of the Magic Eye Theater in Tomorrowland. I don't feel like it's necessary to have both of them in different parks when sometimes they play the same thing. That they might not play the same thing, but I feel like just having one central location in California Adventure would be sufficient. And plus it give more area in Tomorrowland for expansion. So let's see. Yeah, I think that's it for Hollywoodland, at least for me, unless I think of something else. But Alex, what would you change in Hollywoodland to make it better?
Honestly, I would turn all of Hollywoodland into a Monstropolis land.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So the main Hollywood Boulevard area would be rethemed to have like kind of like the Monstropolis architecture, which kind of resembles like an old New York architecture. It would have that, and then the Hyperion Theater would look like the plant, what's it called? I forget what it's called. The plant that Mike and Sully work at.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, the Hyperion Theater would look like that, and would probably play like I don't know, maybe like a show that was themed to Monsters Inc. like the recreation of the movie, but in a stage show.
They could do the put that thing back where it came from, or So Help Me stage show from the movie.
Oh jeez.
I would pay $10 to watch that show live.
and I would like put like shops and restaurants and things there that have to do with Monsters Inc. So it's like it's like themed to like monster stuff. And then I would get rid of the Mike and Sully to the Rescue ride, and I would actually turn it into a better dark ride, like something just better, just whatever, just better.
Anything than this ride.
Yeah, and then I would actually have them build that Monstropolis roller coaster ride that they had an idea for a while ago, like where you're riding along like to find Boo's door or whatever, and it's like a roller coaster. So I would have them build that, and and maybe like turn the Playhouse Disney thing into like
oh, I forgot about Playhouse Disney. Oh my gosh. I forgot it existed.
Yeah. So basically my idea for Hollywood, turn it into Monsters Inc. land. I think that would be the best thing for it, and it would look really cool, and there would be 2 rides in it, and it would be cool. So that's my idea for it.
Gosh. That makes me somehow want to include the Monsters Inc. roller coaster into my version, because I feel like that would be, if they did it right, it'd be one of like the greatest themed roller coasters like ever in a Disney park, because that scene that you're talking about when Mike and Sully are chasing after Boo's door and they're like flying around, holding onto the doors, jumping onto onto the other doors, trying to get to her door and escape the purple guy that turns invisible. That is like the perfect setup for a roller coaster, and it kind of boggles my mind as to why they haven't already turned it into a roller coaster. So I'm gonna have to find a way to incorporate that into my Buena Vista Street extension. But anyways, moving on to Bugs Land, I just have a picture of a pile of dirt with some earth movers, because Bugs Land is already getting demolished and is going to be replaced by Marvel Land. But I did want to ask Alex, because I'm all for having a Marvel Land in California Adventure, if it means getting rid of Bugs Land, if it means not intruding on any of the other lands. Yeah, I'm all for Marvel Land. But I wanted to see if Alex had another idea to sort of replace Marvel Land instead of putting it there.
Well, I don't actually have an idea for replacing Marvel Land. I'm actually, believe it or not, kind of in support of there being a Marvel Land, only because
Ooh.
I know so many people want one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I myself would never go there. I have no interest. I have no interest in Marvel stuff. So, but I know that a lot of people want one, and so I guess like they can have it. I mean, honestly, it's probably a better choice than having Bugs Land anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
All right, I was convinced that you'd say something else, but I'm surprised that you'd be all for Marvel Land. But anyways, moving on to Grizzly Peak. This is my second favorite themed land after Buena Vista Street. I love the rustic feeling that walking through this land gives me, that gets amplified when you see the Grand Californian in the background. I love this area of the park. I love it. If I would change anything in this land, the only thing I'd change, I would replace the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. It's basically just like a park inside Disney, inside California Adventure, like a park that you'd find at like a school or maybe in like a suburban neighborhood. I would completely get rid of this, replace it. This is never going to happen, but replace it with the Country Bear Jamboree. Disney missed a huge opportunity to put the Country Bear Jamboree into this land because it's themed around bears. The mountain, the icon of the land is a giant mountain that's shaped like a bear. Why would they not put the Country Bear Jamboree into the land? But yeah, that be maybe probably the only thing I change in this land, just because I love the way it looks. I love the pine trees, the smell in the air. Gosh, I love it. Yeah, I'd replace the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail with the Country Bear Jamboree. Country Bear Jamboree is one of my guilty pleasures, as many of you may already be aware of on the show because I talk about it so dang much. But anyways, Alex, what would you change about the Grizzly Peak area in California Adventure?
Not really anything. I actually really like it as like I like it the way it is, really. If there is any change at all, it would be to turn the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail into maybe like a smaller version of Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland.
Oh, that would be perfect too.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really small, but I mean, it would still be really neat to kind of go around, on a little choo-choo train. Anyway, so that's my idea. Like, I unfortunately don't agree with the Country Bear Jamboree thing. It's such a hick like show, just like redneck, and I can't do that. Anyway, but yeah, little Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland kind of little train or whatever. That's what I would put there.
I'm trying to imagine like a miniature version of that ride, but it runs along the base of the giant bear mountain and it winds through the water, the Grizzly River Rapids ride. I feel like that'd be something. I feel like that'd be neat. I want that to happen now, Disney. Please. Oh gosh, and imagine, what if they had like a train pass through. This is not gonna happen because trains are loud. What if they had like a train pass through part of the Grand Californian Hotel, and oh my gosh, I'm picturing it in my head and it sounds amazing, but it's never gonna happen and it makes me very sad. But that is a very great idea. Maybe Country Bear Jamboree can be cut in half, and then maybe they can add a smaller version of Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland next to it. I guess that would be fine. But moving on to the infamous Paradise Pier, soon to be Pixar Pier, soon to be demolished in my book, because I would demolish all of Paradise Pier. I would. Now, when I was thinking of how to redo Paradise Pier, I wanted to keep World of Color, and the only way you can do that really is to keep Paradise Pier and just retheme it to a different sort of pier setting, or keep the lagoon but delete. I almost said delete, but demolish everything around the lagoon. To demolish the Ferris wheel, the roller coaster, all of that, or maybe just fill in the lake, demolish all of Paradise Pier, and maybe this is not plausible. This is just my scenario, but maybe move the lake farther back. This is assuming that California Adventure has a billion more acres to build on, but maybe sort of like the way we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I believe, maybe a couple months ago, of how they're redoing Hollywood, the Disney Studios park in Paris, and how they're adding a little sort of lagoon around the. I'm trying to picture it in my head, around the sort of Frozen themed land, and I think even the Star Wars land borders that lagoon. Yeah, I would completely demolish all of Paradise Pier, fill in the little lake that they have, and put something different in that area, and then move the lagoon somewhere else to have World of Color, because World of Color is a great show. I love watching World of Color, but I feel like it could do without the whole Paradise Pier, Pixar Pier theming. So yeah, I couldn't think, maybe they could replace Paradise Pier with this sort of Avatar themed land like they did with Pandora in the Animal Kingdom. I feel like that'd be almost a perfect fit for California Adventure, just because it's just all IPs at this point. Why not throw in Pandora? And yeah, maybe, like I said, build a smaller lagoon out. Gosh, I'm trying to find a way to word this so it makes sense to you guys. I wish I had a map to pull up to sort of circle everything. But yeah, move the lagoon somewhere else, have the show, build a couple new lands around it. Like I said, maybe the Avatar land, but Paradise Pier, for me, it's not that good, especially the newly almost built Pixar Pier. I would demolish everything and then just replace it with Avatar land. Alex, what would you do with Paradise Pier?
Now, I'm gonna take a moment here to just throw it out there that I think you're gonna like my idea, and I think most everyone listening is gonna like it. So, I actually, before I started up this podcast with you, I looked at the Google Maps of Pixar Pier to double check to make sure that my idea might actually fit in the existing area, and I think it will. So here's my idea. People want a land where they could see their favorite Pixar characters, and unfortunately, I don't think that one land really works very well mixing a whole bunch of Pixar characters together. Just doesn't make sense. That's why I don't like Pixar Pier. It doesn't make sense. So here was my idea. Keep the lagoon right where it is, same size, everything, have World of Color showing from it, but the area that is the actual Pixar Pier, I would have them demolish it, even the backstage buildings behind it, and extend the land as far as they can, as close to Catella Avenue as they can. And what I would put right there is kind of like World Showcase, but instead of different lands around the world, it's little mini lands with each Pixar movie. So basically, there would be a land that has like Coco, so that would probably be where the Paradise Garden Grill is. I would actually have a little land that's themed to Coco. I'd have a land that's themed to Toy Story, that is, kind of like Andy's backyard. And then there'd be like a little land next to that is themed to like, I don't know, like something else that's Pixar. I can't think of it at the. I'm like really trying hard. Oh, Incredibles. So I'd have like a little land that's like themed to Incredibles. So basically, it'd be like World Showcase at Epcot, but in a little form of like Pixar movie, and there'd be like a little ride or something that represents each land and stuff like that. And then I would move the Little Mermaid ride actually to Disneyland, and in its place, I would replace it with a Finding Nemo ride. So it would be the same like you get in a clamshell and it takes you around, but instead it's Finding Nemo. So anyway, that's kind of my idea, is that lagoon area would be like World Showcase, but themed to Pixar lands.
That
So
is an incredible idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That sounds awesome, actually. Having 5, maybe 4 different lands dedicated to different Pixar movies. I can just imagine the Coco land, where it's like the scene where Miguel sees the land of the dead for the first time. If they manage to recreate that, I'd be all for that. But okay, yeah, that is an amazing idea. Why didn't Disney just do that instead of Pixar Pier? It doesn't make any sense. Pixar Pier is so dumb. But
that's what I think too. Is the thing that bothers me is that Disney Imagineering could have thought beyond Pixar Pier. Like they think out of the box usually. So, but the problem is that the company tells Imagineering, well, we don't want to spend a lot of money on this. So instead, you're just going to have to think of something that's cheaper. And that's where the company gets in the way. And it's like, you know, if Walt were still alive and he had like access to all these different IPs that are all Disney, like Pixar and stuff like that, Walt would have done something like that, done something like World Showcase there. He would have put something in there that would have been 10 times better than what is already there. And that's just the problem, is that Imagineering, they can do that, but they don't. And instead what you get is Pixar Pier, just an overlay of what was already there. And anyway, but yeah, so I thought about this World Showcase idea and I really liked it, and I thought, you know, that'd look really great, and each little land would be its own little thing, so it would kind of make sense. And you know, and it would make sense in the sense that instead of combining a whole bunch of land into one land, like where you walk one area and it, you know, it's not like Pixar Pier where the Incredibles is right next to the Toy Story carousel. You know, it makes sense in the form that each land is all inclusive about the thing that it's about. So I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
anyway.
Gosh, when I become the CEO of the Disney company, I'm going to totally steal your idea and do that and build this in the California Adventure.
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
But oh my gosh, if there are any artists out there, I would like someone to draw up what Alex just said. Replace all of Pixar Pier, all of the Paradise Pier area, and just draw what Alex just said. Have a Coco themed area, Toy Story, keep Midway Mania, I guess, maybe. Get rid of the carousel. Have Incredibles, Inside Out. I can't think of any other. Finding Nemo, maybe? Something else. Yeah, if there are any artists out there, I would love to see this idea drawn up so I don't have to visualize it inside my head. Please, anyone out there who knows how to draw, I would love to see this. But yeah, that is an amazing idea, Alex. I give you major props for coming up with that. I was just gonna replace it with Pandora, but But yeah, it does make total sense. Having, on the other hand, Pixar Pier does not make total sense. I don't really want to turn this segment into a Pixar Pier hate fest. We already have plenty of episodes just like that. But yeah, Pixar Pier is dumb. Alex's idea is great, and yeah, that's it. Bottom line. Now, let's see. We've officially run out of lands to try to rejuvenate. Are there any lands from maybe any other Disney parks that you'd like to add to California Adventure, or maybe an entirely new land based off a different IP or a different idea in general that you'd like to add to California Adventure, just to sort of make it better than it is currently?
Gosh, if only there were room to do it. But I mean, I'm not creative enough to come up with a completely original idea that is all Disney. Like, I'm not good at that. But I do agree that I would like to see like the world of Pandora here at California, because I think that that's a really great idea, and it makes sense to have it in a California theme park. And so I wish there was room in California Adventure to do that. I mean, if anything, I would like demolish the Guardians of the Galaxy Tower and cancel plans for the construction of Marvel Land in order to put Pandora in that park. So that's what I would like to see. And honestly, when it comes to another Disney park, if there was a third gate, I would like to see something like Animal Kingdom installed, because I really loved Animal Kingdom when I saw it in Florida, and I thought it was such a great idea, and it was unique. You know, it wasn't like a zoo at all. It was like actually being in the wilderness, and it was really cool. And there was rides as well as like a safari and stuff like that. It was just a really great idea, and so I wish that Disney would build that here in California.
Yeah, that would be an amazing addition. I was not the biggest fan of Animal Kingdom when I first went to Disney World, but this past year, a couple of years ago, when I ended up going back, I loved it. Animal Kingdom, I feel like it's so underrated. I don't think a lot of people really like it, just based off of my friends' opinions on it. But it really is. It's so much detail it was put into that park. So much care and love was put into that park. I really do admire it for what it is. And who doesn't like going on safaris? I've not been on. I think there's like a night safari that you can go on. I don't know how much it costs, but I feel like that'd be like a really awesome thing to experience, like having your night vision binoculars that you bought off eBay, and you sneak them into the park, and then you go on this night safari to see all these animals in their habitat at night.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
I guess most of them will be sleeping, but
yeah, and then you put on your night vision goggles. It's not in its pen anymore, and then you see the Tyrannosaur's arm sticking out of the fence. Oh wait, that's a different movie.
Oh my gosh. That would be something awesome too if they included dinosaurs. I believe that was part of the original plan, was to have dinosaurs, mythological creatures into. That's something I need to do a history land on, now that I think about it.
You know what? Honestly, if Universal Studios actually built a full-on land that was themed to Jurassic Park, like it was themed to be like stepping into the real Jurassic Park, and it was had restaurants, and it had rides, and it had a safari, and with animatronic dinosaurs, I would visit Universal. But they don't have that. Instead, they have a crappy Jurassic Park ride that doesn't even look very realistic at all. I mean, I hate looking at that ride. So it's just like the you can see like the skin of the dinosaurs is like folding and flapping and loose, and you can see the inner workings of the dinosaur. If anything, that's one thing I like about Disney. is that when they build animals and stuff like that that are animatronics, they try to make them look as realistic as possible. And
Mhm.
you know, for all intents and purposes, you don't see inside their inner working.
That's true. But yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that either, having like a full-blown Jurassic Park at Universal. That sounds awesome. I'd visit that too. It's been a while since I've been to Universal, so that'd be the draw that Universal would need to bring me back to their theme parks. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
remember. I don't remember what I was saying before. But anyways, any closing thoughts on this topic, Alex?
Yes, we need to come up with a new name for California Adventure
Oh
because
yes.
we came up with all these ideas and it's no longer California themed anyway. So I'm gonna say that my idea for its new name is Disney Adventure Park
Hmm.
because it's all about adventures and not necessarily in California. So that is that's what I would say I would call the theme park.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I was gonna not say that just because it's what we've always said on the show. I was gonna try and come up with something different, but I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head. So Disney Adventure Park it is. I can picture a neat little logo for the park. Disney, I can make the logo for you if you want for California Adventure Park or Disney Adventure Park. Um, but yeah, Disney Adventure Park fits the park. The name would fit the park. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, I think that's gonna wrap up this episode of Matterhorn Mondays. Next week, the streams will be back. I'm so sorry. I deeply regret playing those silly symphonies on stream last week. I don't know what I was thinking. I honestly don't know what I was thinking, but the streams will be back next week. If you aren't already subscribed to my second channel that I made specifically dedicated to all the live streams I'm gonna be doing. I haven't decided fully if I'm gonna put all of my live streams there even after I'm able to live stream on my main account again. I might switch back to this account, this Matterhorn Matt account, once I can stream again on this account, but I definitely want to know what you guys think, if I should keep the second channel, put all the live streams on there, and have like the main content, Matterhorn Mondays, History Land, all that stuff on this channel. And I said this in my frequently asked questions video. I need a new name for Matterhorn Mondays Shorts. That is a terrible, terrible name that I came up in like 5 minutes because I didn't know what to name the show. So if any of you guys who are more creative than me can think of a name better than Matterhorn Monday Shorts, please type in the comments. Let me know. I'll be sure to go with the best name you guys decide to comment. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this episode. We want to know what you guys thought about the topics we talked about, whether it be Pirates of the Caribbean getting Fastpass, which ride you'd like to have Fastpass in Disneyland, and we want to know what you would change in California Adventure to make it less lame. That's a good word to go with. What would you change in California Adventure to make it less lame? Let's see, Alex, why don't you go ahead and explain to the lovely viewers how they can support you?
Sure. If you would like to support my channel, then you can get the free app called Venmo, spelled Venmo. And all you do is you create an account, and then you find my username, which is @AYAlexander, and then you can send me a transfer request for however much money you'd like. And that helps me to get lunch or breakfast at Disneyland, which allows me to stay longer in the park instead of having to leave early to go home. So it does it does that for me, so that way I can do more vlogs in the park. So anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah, guys, definitely go out, donate to Alex, donate your life savings to Alex so he can spend an entire week in the park.
Yes. Yes, donate your life savings, all of your child's money for college fund, everything. Donate it to me.
And I put this out, I don't remember where I said this. I think I said this in last week's episode, maybe even the video I put out this Friday, but when I visit Disneyland, I was thinking of having a sort of, quote, live podcast with Alex. Together, both of us together in the same room. I was toying with that idea, and I want to know if you guys would be interested in that, because we'd be sure to find any way we can to set that up, because whether it be in like a hotel room or the lobby of a hotel, or maybe even in the parks, I don't know how well that would work. I don't think I'd be able to smuggle my computer in, but if that's what you guys want, I can definitely find a way. I can buy lavalier mics for both of us. We can talk about topics at Disneyland in Disneyland. I feel like that'd be something awesome. Would you be, Alex, if the people were down for that, would you be down for having a live podcast inside of Disneyland?
Totally.
Okay, Alex is down, guys. If you guys are down with that, comment down below, because that sounds like, I don't think that's ever been done before, as far as I'm aware. So we would be the first to do that. We would be pioneering the Live in Disneyland podcast. So make sure you comment down below if you'd be interested in that, because I will find a way to make it work. I promise you guys, I will find a way. And I think that's gonna wrap everything up. Like I said, thank you all for watching, and as always, have a great big beautiful tomorrow.